But once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a king who was not just wise, but incredibly far-sighted. He knew a kingdom's true strength was unmeasured by its army's size or the gold in its vaults. No, it was measured by the courage of its people, their tireless work ethic, and their unyielding spirit to conquer any challenge. One day, he decided to teach his sons a lesson they would never forget. He called his soldiers at the crack of dawn and gave them a peculiar order. "Go," he said, "and place a massive stone right in the middle of the main road. I want to see how my people react to it." The soldiers did as commanded, and soon a giant boulder blocked the path. The king then took his sons to the top of a high tower, where they had a perfect view of the scene below. It wasn't long before the first travelers appeared, a group of the king's wealthiest courtiers riding in magnificent chariots, surrounded by a retinue of servants. They were a grand sight, full of pomp and self-importance. But their procession came to an abrupt halt at the sight of the boulder. Immediately, their faces soured. "What kind of incompetent king do we have?" One of them bellowed. "He can't even ensure the roads are clear for his own advisors." They hurled curses and complaints, their voices echoing in the air, but not a single one made any effort to move the stone. Finally, their patience worn thin, they ordered their drivers to turn around and find a different route, grumbling all the way. After they had gone, a group of farmers approached. They were walking home, weary from a long day toiling in the fields. When they saw the huge rock, they stopped and exchanged puzzled glances. "This must be a message from the heavens," one of them murmured. "Perhaps it is a test of our faith." So they clasped their hands, offered a quick prayer, and then, with serene smiles, they simply walked around the obstacle and continued on their journey, leaving the rock exactly where it was. Next to arrive was a valiant warrior, known throughout the kingdom as the king's most loyal knight. He was a man of honor and duty. Seeing the rock, his immediate thought was, "This is a danger to travelers. Someone could get hurt without a moment's hesitation." He spurred his horse and galloped off towards the palace to report the hazard to the king. He acted out of a sense of responsibility, but it never occurred to him to try and solve the problem himself. He saw his duty as reporting the problem, not fixing it. And so the day went on. A stream of people came and went. Some shouted in frustration, some invoked the name of God. Others simply decided it was someone else's problem to solve. The sun began its slow descent, painting the western sky in hues of orange and purple, and evening began to settle over the land. Just as twilight fell, a lone figure appeared on the road. It was a simple farmer, even more exhausted than the ones who had passed earlier. His clothes were soaked with sweat from a hard day's labor, and he carried a heavy sack of grain on his back. When he saw the boulder, he stopped and let out a long, weary sigh. But then a thought crossed his mind. "If I leave this here," he thought to himself, "it will cause trouble for many people tomorrow. The king can't be everywhere at once. We, the people, have a responsibility too. With that resolve, he carefully lowered his heavy sack to the side of the road. He took a deep breath, planted his feet firmly, and began to push the massive rock with all his might. It was an immense struggle. Sweat poured down his face. His breath came in ragged gasps, and every muscle in his body screamed in protest. But he refused to give up. He pushed and strained, gritting his teeth against the pain. And then, with one final, heroic effort, the rock finally budged, and he managed to roll it completely off the road. Panting and exhausted, he bent down to pick up his sack. But as he did, his eyes caught something unusual in the spot where the rock had been. It was a small leather pouch. Curious, he picked it up. It was heavy. He opened it, and his eyes went wide. It was filled to the brim with glittering gold coins. He looked around in utter disbelief, thinking it must be some kind of dream. At that moment, the king, with his sons by his side, descended from the tower and walked over to the astonished farmer. With a warm smile, the king placed a hand on his shoulder. "My good man," he said, "these gold coins are yours. They are your reward. You were the only one who understood your responsibility and took action to remove the obstacle." The king then turned to his sons, his expression serious. "Remember this day," he told them. "Obstacles in life are not there to stop you. They are there to reveal the path. They are opportunities. When you face a challenge and overcome it through your own effort, you not only find your reward, but you also become stronger. You earn true respect, and you forge your own destiny." The princes stood in silence. The lesson etched into their minds more deeply than any words from a book ever could. They finally understood what it truly meant to be strong. I hope you found value in this story. If you did, please consider liking this video and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Your support truly encourages me to bring more stories like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.